everyone, my name is Paula Peralta, Artistic Director for Paul Mitchell, and welcome to Specialist Spotlight. I have had the opportunity to travel the world and see some of the most incredible hairdressers. With this series, we're bringing them to you to help you become a master in your salon. In this episode of Specialist Spotlight, we are joined by Nike Blount, who is teaching us the ins and outs of feed-in braids. Welcome everybody, you know where you are. Specialist Spotlight, Paul Mitchell Pro Channel. My name is Paula Peralta. I am here with the brilliant Nike, and we are going to be talking feed-in braids. What's up, Nike?
Yes, hi. So feed-in braids, it's such a great protective style. Here you guys see me using the material from Paul Mitchell. I'm going to place it on the parts just to make sure that my parts are nice and clean, and then I distribute it evenly through both sides of the hair strand for control.
And we've talked about this before. If you guys haven't seen the box braids video, Nike talks so much about creating a roadmap for your style. So with these protective styles like braids, box braids, feed-in braids, setting yourself up with your sectioning is a game changer and allows you to move through the style very quickly once you actually start braiding.
Yes, so with material, I love the fact that it's matte and it holds the hair in control when it comes to curly hair. I want to start off with her natural hair. Once I started with her natural hair with the feed-ins, I want to make sure that I separate my synthetic hair out prior to going into my style. I'm going to separate them out with smaller sections first, because as you guys know, the hairline is very challenging sometimes. So I want it to look as natural as possible. So I'm going ahead and adding in smaller pieces to medium pieces. And as I work down into her density, they're going to be thicker pieces.
Amazing. And this is definitely one of those styles. Remember that there's a million ways to get from point A to point B. Nike's just showing us one way to get there, a really simple approach to feed-in braids, which I will tell you, Nike's the one that taught me years ago how to do feed-in braids. And these techniques, if you listen to the tips and tricks, she talks about hand positions, etc., you are gonna be able to get to practicing and do this in no time.
Yeah, feed-in braids are so fun. They can be large, small, medium, just whatever the guest wants. As you guys see, when it comes to feed-in braids, it reminds me of putting on a t-shirt, right? So you want to make sure that you put one arm in at a time. When it comes to protecting the natural hair, just like we did within the box braids, we're going to be tucking and protecting her natural curl in between the synthetic hair.
So when you say one arm at a time, like you mean everyone doesn't put their t-shirts on like this? You gotta put it in that one side of the hair and then the other side of the hair and then just keep braiding.
Yes, one side at a time. The keys to your feed-in braid is to only add in on your dominant side. So as you guys will see as we go down, you're gonna only add in that one arm on that dominant side and then continue to braid. Once you make it back around the corner, you're going to go ahead and add in that other arm.
Amazing. I love that. Okay, so once we move on to the next section, I really love what you said about the front hairline generally has a lower density. And so that's where making sure that those sections are a little bit smaller, that the hair that you add in is smaller, and then allowing it to go to more medium and then to those thicker sections of hair as well, which if you guys haven't checked out the box braid conversation, it's a really similar conversation if you need to see a little bit more in depth of what that looks like. So obviously we have the gorgeous Brita, and we are adding in on this one side. Talk to me a little bit, how do you know what size of section of their natural hair to pull into the braid, Nike?
So I like to balance the braid out. So I add in from left and to right. And I add it into the middle to secure and anchor that hair down the middle so that my braid lies perfectly down the middle. As I move down into her density, as you guys can see, the synthetic hair is medium size, and it's really going to be based on their density. If they have high density, I can use smaller pieces of hair as well. Or even so, like as I move down their hairline, if they have high density, I can make more consistent parts of synthetic hair that I feed in.
Cool. And then also too, like you'll see people, if you've watched a feed and braid tutorial, sometimes people will use a comb dissection, sometimes they'll use their nails. Like it really depends. There will be people that love that like super clean, sleek, like stitch mark. Some people like it even softer than what Nike's done and like just really like soft and all blended together. So that's what's really cool about this technique is that while it is a protective style, and I love that you mentioned that because this synthetic hair is actually encapsulating the natural hair. So it is a protective style, but it also is like a really great opportunity to kind of have some fun with the design. Like what is it? What sort of end result do you want? Do you want something that's like a little bit more clean and crisp? Do you want something that's a little bit softer? You can still have that versatility within this technique.
Absolutely. Another key point that I do when I'm doing my feed-in braids, I'm feeling for her density and the consistency as I braid down. I want to still make sure that the density in my fingers are feeling the same so that I have balance. And that is going to be key to keeping me on track as I maneuver down her head shape and just making sure that I'm also trying to match the previous braids. So on the hairline on the side, it can also be a little thinner. So I might need to add thicker pieces into the hairline on the sides because I want to get consistency throughout the whole head.
Amazing. And then can you talk about your hand position? Because I noticed it looks similar to me, like the pointer finger, like the arrows that we talked about in box braids. So how important is it that my fingers are like resting against the head shape or not? Or what does that look like?
In order to keep it nice and tight towards the base, you want to make sure that you keep your hands in that same position as the arrow, same as in box braids, closest to the base. If I drop my hands, I'm going to change the style. So you want to make sure that you keep the same tension throughout the whole hairstyle. We're going to go in with our Neural Lift, which is a great foam, which is going to lock in her flyaways and mold in our braid style. Then you want to go ahead and grab some hot water and seal those in so they do not unravel. Make sure when you're having your towel that you pull it nice and tight and it will seal those ends beautifully through the ends.
Amazing. I love this. And let me just tell you, Britta was feeling herself. I saw her all over social media, flipping those braids and doing all the things. So great job, Nike. Thank you so much again for sharing your excellence with us. And we'll see you guys next time.